The stage lights hit like a supernova, blinding me for a split second before the roar of the crowd crashed over me like an ocean wave. My fingers trembled on the violin's strings, not from fear, but from the fire igniting in my chest, the kind that says, "This is it, this is alive." I was 12, standing in the heart of a sold-out auditorium in Los Angeles, my small frame swallowed by the spotlight, but my bow. It sliced through the air like a comet's tail. The melody of "Don't Stop Me Now" poured out, not as notes on a page, but as a scream from my soul. Queen's anthem, twisted through the wail of my violin, a cover that wasn't just music, it was my rebellion, my heartbeat, my pleas, don't let me fall. And as the final vibrato hung in the air like a promise, the world didn't stop. It exploded. Applause thundered, but all I could hear was the echo of my own whisper, "I did it. I'm free." That night was the pinnacle, the dream I'd chased since I was 5, when I first pressed a rented violin to my shoulder in a cramped Kyiv apartment. But stories like mine don't start at the top. They claw their way up from the mud, note by jagged note. My name is Lena Petrova, and this is how a girl from the shadows of war became the girl who wouldn't stop. It began in the winter of 2014, when the world outside our window in eastern Ukraine shattered like fragile glass. I was 6, huddled under a threadbare blanket with my babizia, my grandmother, while bombs whispered threats in the distance. Mama was at the hospital, a nurse stitching up the broken bodies of strangers, and Papa. Papa was gone, drafted into a war that didn't care about families or fiddles. The power flickered out most nights, leaving us in candlelight, and that's when Babizia would pull out her old violin from its hiding place in the floorboards. It was a relic, scarred from Soviet times, with strings that buzzed like angry bees. "Music, Malenkaya," she'd say, her voice a rasp from too many cigarettes and too few hopes, "is the only balm that heals." She'd play for me then, lullabies twisted into something fiercer, melodies that danced around the fear gnawing at our bellies. One night, as artillery rumbled like thunder, she handed me the bow. My tiny hands fumbled, the wood slick with my sweat, but when I drew it across the strings, a sound emerged. Not beautiful, not yet, just raw, like a cry. Babizia's eyes lit up, crinkling at the corners. "That's it, Lena, that's your voice. Don't ever let them silence it." We fled a month later, when the shelling got too close. Mama scraped together what little we had, her nursing badge, Babizia's violin, and a suitcase of memories, and we boarded a rattling train west, toward Poland, then Germany, a blur of borders and bureaucracy. Papa's letters stopped coming, the official notice arrived like a ghost, stamped, "Missing in action." I was too young to grasp the void, but old enough to feel it carve a hollow in my chest. Music filled it, or tried to. In refugee camps, amid the stench of unwashed clothes and simmering stew, I'd sneak away to practice. Kids stared, some mocked the gypsy squeaks, others begged for tunes to drown out their nightmares. Babizia taught me scales by firelight, her arthritic fingers guiding mine. "Feel it here," she'd press her palm to my heart. Not just fingers, soul. By the time we reached Los Angeles 2 years later, I was 8, a wide-eyed immigrant kid in a city of dreams too big to hold. Mama found work cleaning houses in Beverly Hills, her hands raw from bleach, while Babizia and I squeezed into a one-room apartment in Koreatown, walls thin as promises. School was a battlefield of its own, English tangled on my tongue like barbed wire, and the other kids. They smelled opportunity on me like blood in the water. "Go back to Russia, violin freak," they'd sneer, shoving me into lockers that echoed with my silence. I didn't fight back with words or fists. I fought with music. That's when I discovered Queen. It was a rainy Saturday, Babizia asleep after a coughing fit that rattled her frail frame, and I was flipping through Mama's ancient radio, static crackling like old bones. Freddie Mercury's voice burst through, "Tonight, I'm gonna have myself a real good time," and it hit me like lightning. I didn't know the words yet, but the energy. It was alive, defiant, a rocket ship blasting through the gray. I begged Mama for a library card, devoured YouTube on the neighbor's Wi-Fi, and there she was, Karolina Protsenko. A girl not much older than me, Ukrainian roots like mine, her violin weeping and soaring over pop anthems. Her cover of "Don't Stop Me Now" was the first I saw, bow flying like wings, face alight with joy that said, "I'm unstoppable." I replayed it until the pixels burned into my brain. If she could take a rock god's roar and make it sing through strings, so could I. I started practicing in secret, after school in the alley behind our building, where the dumpsters muffled my mistakes. The violin Babizia gave me was too big, the bridge warped from humidity, but it was mine, a tether to home. Hours blurred into nights, blisters bloomed on my fingers like angry roses. Mama worried, her eyes shadowed from double shifts. Lena, rest, life's not a concert hall. But Babizia, she saw the spark. She's got the fire, Olena, she'd argue, using Mama's Ukrainian name. Like your father, he sang in the fields before the war stole him. That silenced Mama, but not the doubt in her gaze. The first real challenge came at 10, when Babizia's cough turned to blood. Cancer, the doctors said, stage 4, a thief in her lungs from years of factory smoke back home. We couldn't afford treatment, not the fancy kind, anyway. Mama cried in the shower so I wouldn't hear, but I did. I poured it into the violin, hacking at Queen's riffs until my arms screamed. Carolina's videos became my lifeline. I messaged her on social media, a desperate DM from a nobody, your music saved me. Teach me to fly, she replied, practice with heart, Lena. The world needs your song. It was a spark in the dark. I entered my first talent show at school, a dingy gym with folding chairs and a microphone that hummed like a swarm. The song, Don't Stop Me Now, of course, raw, unpolished, my cover of Frankenstein of Carolina's flair and my own grit. The judges were teachers with clipboards and kind smiles, but the audience? Classmates who'd tripped me in hallways, whispered, foreigner, like a curse. I stepped up, heart pounding like bass drums, and played. The notes wobbled at first, nerves clawing at my bow, but then something shifted. The melody took over, Freddie's lyrics echoing in my head. I'm a shooting star leaping through the sky, like a tiger defying the laws of gravity. By the bridge, the gym hushed. A girl in the front row, the one who'd called me freak, wiped her eyes. I won third place, a cheap trophy that gathered dust, but more than that, I won a glimpse of possibility. Whispers turned to questions. Teach me. Play at lunch. Babizia's decline accelerated that summer. She weakened, her stories fading to whispers, but she'd rally for my practices, propped on pillows like a queen on her throne. Faster, Malankaya, like the wind through the steps. We'd laugh until she wheezed, and I'd play softer then, lullabies for her, not anthems. Mama juggled jobs, resentment simmering. This violin's stealing you from us, Lena. We need you here. One night, after Babizia coded in the ER and they revived her with tubes snaking like vines, Mama snapped. Sell it. We need the money for meds. I clutched the case to my chest, tears hot as solder. It's all I have of Papa. Of her. Of me. We screamed until our voices broke, the apartment shaking with our grief. In the end, she relented, but the rift lingered, a crack in our foundation. School got harder too. 11th grade brought Alex, the golden boy with a quarterback arm and a smile that hid knives. He'd flirt in music class, his eyes lingering on my hands as I tuned the strings. You're exotic, Lena, play for me sometime. At first, it felt like sunlight, someone seeing me, not the accent or the thrift store clothes. We dated in whispers, stolen kisses behind the bleachers, his fingers tracing my calluses like they were Braille secrets. But Alex wanted control, a trophy to parade. When I skipped his party to practice for a regional youth orchestra audition, he exploded. You're obsessed. No one's gonna care about some immigrant fiddler. He spread rumors, called me crazy, posted memes mocking my squeaky toy. The orchestra, I bombed it, nerves frayed by betrayal, bow slipping like my resolve. Rock bottom hit at 13, the week Babizia slipped away. Her funeral was a blur of black veils and incense in a tiny Orthodox church, Mama's sobs the only sound louder than my silence. I didn't play, the violin sat in its case like a coffin. Depression wrapped around me, heavy as wet wool, skipping school, staring at ceilings, the song stuck in my head but mocking, don't stop me now, but what if I already have? Friends drifted, Alex moved on to cheerleaders. Mama worked herself to exhaustion, leaving notes, we're stronger than this. For her, but I felt adrift, a ghost in my own skin. Then, one gray dawn, I found Babizia's letter tucked in the violin's F-hole, scrawled in her looping Cyrillic, Malankaya, the music isn't in the wood or the strings. It's in you, the fire that war couldn't quench, loss couldn't dim. Play for the ones who can't. Don't stop, ever. With all my love, your Babizia. I wept until my ribs ached, then picked up the bow. The first stroke was rusty, a sob in E minor, but I kept going. Don't stop me now, flowed out, fiercer than before, anger, sorrow, joy braided into every phrase. I recorded it on my cracked phone, a shaky cover inspired by Carolina's Grace, and uploaded it to YouTube. For Babizia. For Papa. For me. Views trickled in, 10, 50, 100. Comments bloomed like wildflowers. This healed something in me. Girl, you're a rocket. A local news station picked it up, then a talent scout. Invites followed. School assemblies, community centers. I rebuilt, note by note. Alex. I forgave him in a quiet conversation after class. You almost stopped me, but you couldn't. He apologized, red-faced, and we parted as strangers, wiser for the scar. Mama and I mended too. She started coming to my gigs, her pride a quiet glow. You sound like home, she'd say, squeezing my hand. The challenges didn't vanish, auditions flopped, critics nitpicked my raw edge, and doubt whispered on lonely nights. But each hurdle taught me, resilience isn't absence of fear, it's playing through it. That brings us back to the stage, 2 years after the upload, at 14. The Auditorium, a youth music festival headlined by Carolina herself. I'd emailed her months earlier, attaching my evolving cover. You inspired this. Can I share the spotlight? Her reply, absolutely, let's make magic. Backstage, nerves jangling like loose strings, I met her, poised, kind, her violin case monogrammed like armor. You've got it, Lena. The soul. Remember. Don't stop. The performance was chaos and catharsis. We dueled bows, her violin soaring, mine grounding it in grit, Queen's anthem reborn as a dialogue of dreams. The crowd surged to their feet midway,